like I said, I can only speak from personal experience again. But I guess personal experience, it was me and a few other people that I know of. And I know what happened to them was the same that happened to me. But I know one thing that's really common, which I've learned, you know, as I went through counseling and as I've gotten older and things like that, is that a lot of times with younger children, the offender will call it a game or our game. And that was what was with me. It was our game. And it would be, you know, things would be, it would happen in private, but it would happen, I don't know how to explain it, but there were certainly other people in the house, lots of other people in the house. But yeah, I know, like, that's one thing, is that it's like our game. And children, from what I understand, children won't usually say that out loud because they're not usually the ones that will ask for it to happen, obviously. But I think just being kind of aware of that, like, there were many times as a child that this person would say that in front of a lot of other people, like, do you want to go play our game? And I really wanted someone to say, like, what game? Do you know what I mean? And, or like that kind of thing. Another thing that I know from, that I've learned and like from my personal experiences, children will start showing signs that that they've been touched in inappropriate places. Like, this is maybe a little awkward, but every little child like explores their body, right? And there's nothing wrong with that. But one thing that I have learned is that children who have been sexually abused will touch themselves more often. And there's nothing wrong, like, with asking your child, you know, especially if they're little, you know, like, you know, you're talking to them about their bodies and, you know, saying, like, reminding them, like, nobody should touch you there, and, you know, that kind of thing. But yeah, I mean, as for like preventing it, I think all of the research and everything that I've looked up and everything is the number one thing, the number one way to prevent it is to just be open with your kids. Just talk to your children. And like I said, there were many times that I hoped that my parents would come, like, ask me straight up. And my mom and dad were both fantastic about talking to me about how my body was sacred and was special, and that other people shouldn't touch me and things like that. And you can't, sometimes you just can't prevent things. But sometimes you can, you know, by just being straight up and asking straight up questions and teaching your children from a really young age, and I don't know, as soon as they can talk, really, you know. I mean, it's frequently family members, like, that's the most common. It's someone more than an acquaintance. From what I understand, it's quite frequently family members. In my case, this person was a teenager, but that doesn't, I mean, I don't think age has, but a lot of times, I mean, this is really common that people who are abused will abuse. And children that have been abused, a lot of times will act things out on their friends or siblings. Not purposefully abusing, obviously, because they're children, but just like, if they've been taught that it's a game, then they don't know that it's wrong. And so that's something else to watch out for. Just find out what your children are playing and how they're playing, you know, and, you know, especially with friends. So I think, you know, that's one thing to, and unfortunately it's just an uncomfortable thing, you know, and sometimes you have to face uncomfortable things head on. And so, yeah, I mean, I do know from everything that I've read and everything that I've been taught that abusers will choose people that are close to them because they trust them, right? They trust an uncle or a cousin or a, you know, anything. They would trust them more, and then the child would keep the secret more readily because they trust that person. So